you've got to qualify yourself to where they have no choice. You've got to be so good that they can't ignore you. You've got to deserve it. The student must qualify themselves so that the teacher has no choice. Be so good they can't ignore you. This is a quote from Steve Martin in his awesome autobiography, Born Standing Up. Be so good they can't ignore you. I remember reading that book while I was building my first startup and started in my bedroom in Dallas, Texas, and had my eyes set on I love to think about the ideal, work backwards from that, my eyes set on the best investors in the world. The best investor at the time and one of the best of all time. Still is. But at that time, it was just so clear in my head, I wanted Mark Andreessen involved in what I was building. A bunch of attempts later and some no's along the way, he ended up invested twice, and he was our board observer. So I got to work with him closely every month in building our company. From Dallas, Texas to the heart of Silicon Valley and the best investor on the planet, it was a lot of different approaches, trying a bunch of different things to try to get the best people involved. That was the case for everybody that I tried to get involved. But that quote, be so good they can't ignore you. That's stuck into my mind of that's the best way to get anything. Charlie Munger, the great investor that I mentioned, and though this is a philosophical podcast, he was one philosophical mind as one of the best investors of all time in the public side of things, so not startups. And he has this great line of, if you want a good spouse, deserve a good spouse. The best way to find a good spouse is to deserve a good spouse. Not doing 5 different shiny object things to attract attention, but doing all of the hard things the right way. So many areas of your life, building relationships the right way, treating people the right way, treating yourself the right way, that you deserve a great partner. Both of these get at the core of any genuine relationship, from a spouse to a mentor to an investor to a teacher, that it comes down to the foundations being real. You're actually being so good at your craft. As a comedian, I'm sure he's thinking about entertainers that are trying to break into a really difficult industry to break into. And he's like, it's simple. Be so good they can't ignore you. Don't just be good enough to get your foot in the door, but be so good that even despite their best attempts to ignore you, they can't. The same goes for finding great teachers in the world. On any front, professional, personal, spiritual. And the phrase that is said in this philosophy is that a student must qualify themselves so that a teacher has no choice. The best teachers, professionally, personally, mentors, best bosses, the best investors, the best spouses, and your spouse, they can and should become one of your greatest teachers. Maybe in their own way. It might not be preaching philosophy, but teaching you nonetheless, and how they approach life. If they're not a teacher with their values and how they approach life, if they're not setting the bar higher for you than you're setting it for yourself, or showing you, shining a light on your weak points in a caring way, or just having values that stick out as an ideal to shoot for, then that is a relationship I would probably pump the brakes on. My wife was always so spiritually inclined, always, like, she would never lie to anyone about it. And she's so good that I was like, man, I got to clean up my act. It was way before I dove headfirst into this philosophy and spiritual study. But we must qualify ourselves. Everyone has limited time. The investor, the teacher, the spouse, the potential spouse. limited time. You've got to qualify yourself to where they have no choice. You've got to be so good that they can't ignore you. You've got to deserve it. Be so good they can't ignore you. The best way to get a good spouse is to deserve a good spouse. The student must qualify themselves so that the teacher has no choice. As this philosophy says, we get the life that we deserve, not the life that we desire. Man, is that a reality check for, I'll speak for myself, a Mack truck of a reality check all along the way in life. What a purifying reflection. We get the life that we deserve, not the life that we desire. And to bring it back to Charlie Munger, he talks a lot about deserving what you get in his different lectures, speeches, writings. One that really sticks out is maybe 5 or 6 years ago, he was in a Q&A and he said, it is invaluable to feel like you deserve what you have. Kind of flips it on its head. It's not just you've got to, if you want a good life, you got to deserve a good life. Yes, that's important, but to feel the power of, yeah, I deserve this. Solid foundation, the state of my health. Yeah, I deserve this. Or the strength of my body. I deserve this. I put in the time. Career goals, where you're like, yeah, this makes sense that this would happen because I put in the time. The elimination of agitations, the peace that you bring to each interaction because of the early morning reflection that you put into the foundation of your day, leads to perhaps material success after material success that others like say, how do you do it? Or the prior version of you would have worried that you'd lose it. Like, oh, I don't really deserve this. And I kind of got here through luck. How peaceful is it to feel like you deserve it? To where, man, if this opportunity doesn't work out, I'm so good. I know that multiple opportunities can't ignore how good I am at this craft because I've really put in the time, the determination to become a master at it. And everything that you do or you have is underpinned by this feeling of, yeah, I deserve that because of 10,000 decisions that I've made up until this point that no one ever saw. I was always in shadows where when no one was looking, I made all of these right decisions. That this makes sense. How much more powerful is that than the alternative of, God, I got this through all of some scheming. I got this kind of the wrong ways and I don't really deserve it. And subconsciously like, it might be taken. It probably should be taken. Justice would be this being taken away from me. The peace of, yeah, this makes sense. We get the life that we deserve, not the life that we desire. According to this philosophy, anyhow. And that is today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic. We'll see you next time.